Hey everybody. With more and more people becoming concerned with the ingredients that are in the foods that they eat and where our foods are being prepared, how they're being prepared, our focus still remains on being more self-reliant and being able to make more of the foods that we eat ourselves. Now that includes snack foods. So today I'm going to share a simple 3-ingredient shortbread cookie recipe. Now, I don't know if any of you have tins like this in the house, usually with a sewing kit or buttons or screws, nuts, and bolts in it out in the workshop. But a tin like this costs about $5 in the store now. And it's tiny, it's a small tin, there's not much in it. And the list of ingredients is a little bit concerning for me. So I want today to be able to make some of these myself. They've always been a favorite in our family. And the recipe is super simple. Like I said, it's got 3 ingredients. They take about 20 minutes to make. So let's get started. The 3 simple ingredients we're going to be using today are flour, granulated sugar, and butter. I'm using an unsalted butter. You can use salted or unsalted, completely your preference. Now, we don't need a lot to make the batch that we're going to make today, but this is a batch that you can double, triple, however much you want in order to be able to make more cookies. So the first thing that I need to do is take a stick and a half or 3/4 of a cup of butter and soften it. So let me get these out of their wrappers, get the amount I need into my bowl, and get that softened. So just to reiterate, we have a stick and a half of softened butter. To that, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. And then we're going to just stir these two together until they're thoroughly mixed. And I'm just using a spatula. You can use a spoon, whatever works for you. I like the silicone spatulas because they let me get the edge of my bowls nice and clean. So we've got that now mixed. You don't want to see any piles of sugar anywhere. That's pretty much the goal. So now that that's mixed, we're going to add in 2 cups of unsifted all-purpose flour. So I'm just going to pour that in. Now this we're going to mix together and it's going to form a dough. So this takes a few minutes, but it's just gently stirring it together so I don't make a complete mess. And I'll bring you back as soon as I have the flour all folded in. We've got this all mixed together and it formed into a nice dough. Now, if your dough at the end, what you want is something that if you pick it up with your hands, it's not super sticky and sticking to your fingers. If it's too dry, you can add more softened butter, a tablespoon at a time. If it's too sticky and wet, you can add more flour, 1 tablespoon at a time, until it reaches this kind of a consistency. So the next step for this is for me to get this out onto a surface so I can roll it out and make my cookies. So now that I have my dough made, I'm going to move this out of the way for a moment. I'm just bringing over a cutting board that has some parchment paper on it. Now you can do this just on a floured surface if you want. I like doing it on the parchment paper. It makes it easier for me because I am rolling mine out and using a cutter to get my shapes that I want. So for me, this is easy. The other thing is I do have a little bit of flour in case I need to put some of that on my rolling pin as I roll out my dough. And that's fine, it's not gonna hurt anything. So let me set these aside. And then I'm just gonna take my dough and I'm gonna plop it into the middle of my sheet. And I'm going to, if you make a double batch or a triple batch, I suggest rolling it out in smaller amounts at a time. It's a little bit easier. Get all this off here. Get the last little bit out of my pan. And that's another thing. Your pan should come out pretty clean if it's at the right texture. And I can even get it off my spatula without it sticking badly to my fingers. So I'm gonna take this. Now I'm just gonna mash it into like a ball on my parchment paper. And that's gonna make it a little bit easier for me to roll it out because I don't want any gaps in the middle. All right, so I am going to take just a little bit of flour into my hand. I'm gonna just rub that onto my rolling pin, and I can do that as needed through the process. So we're just gonna roll this out slowly. Now I'm gonna roll this out until it is about a 1/2 inch thick. And I'm not worried about the outer shape. I just wanna get it as consistent as I can. And as you can see, it's not sticking. I'm not pressing really hard. It's just a light roll to get a smooth texture. All right, so that's at about a 1/2 inch. So I can set this aside. And now I'm going to take a cutter that I dipped in some flour, and I like these little round shapes. So I'm just using the equivalent of a small biscuit cutter. And I'm just gonna go around and press out my shapes. And then once I have all these shapes cut out, I've got my oven preheated to 350, I think, degrees. I'll double check that. And then we'll get these on a parchment lined cookie sheet, and I'll be back with you once I have that done. So I got 10 little cookies out of the first cut. So now I'm just gonna lift these up. I'm gonna move them over to a, like I said, a parchment sheet covered cookie sheet. And I'll take all my leftover, separate this out. I'll take all this leftover dough, and I'm just gonna clump it up into a ball, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna take all the leftover dough, we're gonna roll it out, cut it, and let's see how many cookies we get total. I'll bring you back as soon as I've got all that done. Well, we ended up with 20 nicely cut cookies and one that I made with what was left over. It's a little bit misshapen, but that's okay. It'll be a great one for a taste tester. So, like I said, my oven is preheated to 350 degrees. I'm gonna put this pan in there. They're gonna cook for about 20 minutes. So probably at about 16 minutes, I'm gonna start taking a look at these, make sure that they're doing okay. And for that last 5 minutes or so, I'm gonna really keep a closer eye on them. So let me get these in the oven, and I'll be back with you as soon as they're ready. So it took right about 20 minutes, and the cookies are ready. So now I'm just going to take them off the parchment paper and put them onto a cooling rack. Now, if you wanted to do granulated sugar on the top of these with those big sugar crystals, you do that before you put them in the oven. If you want to dip them in icing or dip them in chocolate, which is probably what I'm going to do, you want to let these cool before you try to dip them, or the chocolate is just going to melt. So my plan is to double boil some chocolate chips, dip these halfway into those chocolate chips, and then I'll come back and we'll do a taste test. Cookies are finished, and I got Steve to come help try out a couple of these. And I was able to, once they cooled, I put some chocolate chips and a little bit of shortening into a double boiler, got that melted down, dipped the cookies, and this is the way Steve prefers these. Yeah, we did some of these at Christmas for family and friends. They're great to have, a quick, easy thing to do. Even if you do the chocolate and dip them, within an hour, your cookies from start to finish are done and ready to go on a plate, either for your family or to take anywhere if you're going for a special event. Like we've got, this is Easter weekend that we're making this video, so happy Easter, everybody. So we've got something we can take with us if we want, or if friends happen to stop by, we've got something that we can offer. So if you have a favorite cookie, do you like shortbread cookies? What's your favorite way to eat them? Do you like them with coffee or with tea? Do you like your shortbread cookies with chocolate, with sugar, plain? Let us know.
Yep, these are great with tea or coffee. I wouldn't recommend these as a dunker because they're very, very, I don't want to say crumbly, but they're very soft. If you were to dunk this, I'd have your mouth waiting to get it in there pretty quick.
As is typical with a lot of your shortbread cookies.
Yeah, but these are great. The chocolate does make them a lot sweeter, and I think it also slows us down. If she didn't dip these in chocolate, the batch would probably be gone
before I could finish the video. So for us, like I said, being able to make our own food, whether it's something we've canned, something we've freeze dried, something that we've made like breads, being able to do that gives us a self-reliance. It's important for us. And having a dessert that you can make yourself instead of going out and buying it at the store, we know what's in it. We know it doesn't have the additives that when I was looking at that other tin that I can't pronounce. There'll always be something that when you buy it at the store, you're not going to be 100% sure about. But we do our best to minimize those items so that we use less of things that are out of our control. And we really enjoy being able to share that with you all. So if you like the video, make sure you give us a thumbs up. Any comments or any questions, put them down. Don't forget to share this with anybody you think might like it. And until next time, everybody, take care.
See ya.
Bye.